where we are just making sure that there are no issues at the poll. And I just wanted to introduce a young man who's been doing work over here at this poll and kind of talk about his experience and what's going on here. So, sir, tell people your name.
My name is Khalil Darden. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I came out today really just to make sure that we encourage not only black voters, but voters all over Atlanta to come out and vote so that we can flip the Senate.
Okay, and what's the idea behind the event you're having? I see it's a food truck. What else is going on?
We just want to encourage voters. So we know that encouragement comes behind there being free food. So come vote, get some free food, hear some music and things of that sort.
And you're from Pittsburgh?
Yes, I'm born and raised.
Okay, so you decided to just come down here, or you live down here?
So I live here now. I attend Clark Atlanta University. I'm a business administration major.
Okay, and why do you think it's important for young people to be engaged and somebody your age to be out here motivating others to vote?
I think for us, we're the future. And so if we're not out here making progressive change for ourselves, then we don't set the generation coming behind us up.
Okay, and what do you think is the most important issue in this election and why it's important for young people to be engaged because of that issue?
I think that we need more black voices to be able to advocate for our lives. And so for me, I think that's the biggest thing, is being able to have young people voice their opinion. I think it's one thing to be out here protesting. It's another to be make an actual change in the voting polls.
Okay, and if people want to help you or want to get clued into the work you're doing, how can they follow you? How can they keep in touch with you?
So I actually run my own youth nonprofit organization. It's called Young Black Motivated Kings and Queens. If you want to get involved with the work that we do, it's ybmkq.org.
Okay, and how can they follow you on social platforms?
It's ybmkq.412 on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay, and thank you for the work that you're doing. And so again, it's important that we elevate the voices of young people. We have another young organizer who's been on the ground for years here. We've been working together with the People's Uprising. I want to invite Julius Thomas to come on over and kind of have a conversation with him about the work that he's been doing and why it's important for him to be out here. Julius, can you tell people why it's important for you to be out here?
It's very important for me to be out here because there's no other place that I should rather be than with the people as we're making our voice heard through making change happen here in Atlanta, Georgia. Voting is so crucial and so important. It's important for us, the NAACP, to be out amongst the people to make sure everything's going smooth, make sure we're having no problems, but most importantly, making sure everyone has a fair process of expressing their vote.
You've been on the ground for most of the day today. What have you noticed about the turnout and people's attitudes and the energy around this?
The energy is very optimistic around here, especially from a young person's perspective. We're fired up like we've never been fired up before. Having us engaged, involved into this process has been an amazing experience, and seeing the energy amongst the black community here in Atlanta, Georgia, has been fantastic. And I'm feeling very optimistic, and I think that's the sense of everyone over here. We're just ready. We're excited because we're finally expressing our voice, and we're ready to see some change happen. And I think we're going to look forward to some good news today.
Okay, that's great. And so we got an opportunity to go have a conversation with the poll monitors and the polling people. And currently in this polling location, there have been 337 voters, which is ahead of the presidential turnout. And so we're going to continue to monitor the situations. We do expect that more voters will be coming. I think President Rose may have a few words that he wants to share about what we're doing here. And so I just want to talk to President Rose. What have you been feeling so far about the energy that's going on in this election?
This has been a great day. I think the energy in the community has been outstanding. It's a buzz that I haven't felt since I was a college student. And so I'm happy, I'm gratified. We've done a lot of work. A lot of different partners in the community have come out. New Georgia Project, the Urban League, Georgia Stand Up, Georgia Coalition for People's Agenda, the Divine Nine, the Masons, the 100 Black Men, 100 Black Women. Everybody, every segment of our community has been coming out to push this vote, and it showed up not only in early voting, but it showed up today. We will break records, I think, for a runoff. This is unheard of a turnout for a runoff, but it's what's needed. It shows America, it shows the power of our vote. So people cannot say again, our votes don't count. Our votes count.
What does it mean to see the engagement of the young people? I just had two young men I was talking to who are so fired up and engaged with this election. What does it mean for the young people?
Well, let me say, it means a rebirth of energy from young people. You know, I come from a time when young people were the ones on the front line. They are coming back again. I think that the spring that we had, where they saw what the consequences that if they don't get involved, I think that has energized them. They left the picket line and went to the poll line. That is great. that's great for Georgia, that's great for America.
Okay. And so again, we've seen protests move to power and electoral power. And so I think there's another young person that wants to come up that I want to interview and talk about his experience. So could you come over, sir? So what brought you out today to this polling precinct? And can you explain the energy on the ground?
Yeah, I'm actually with a small little news crew, and we've been going around to a couple of polling places around this area, and we've seen a lot of energy, a lot of people out. We were just over at CT Martin Natatorium. It's like a party over there. They got music, and it's great to see all the energy. I myself, I'm a Georgia voter. I live in Atlanta. Okay. I voted early, and I'm just so excited to see how many people are out here. I think this is a really important election. There's so much at stake, especially for the state of Georgia. This is like once in a lifetime. You see this kind of two runoffs. Like I was never expecting. I've been living here in Georgia. I'm born here. Never expected the election to come down to us.
So why do you think it was important? You said you were the film crew to document this. Why do you think that's important?
This is a big moment in our country's history. Our democracy is at stake, and President Trump, he has been spinning these tales, and a lot of people are buying into these falsehoods, and I think that's really, really dangerous for our democracy. The fact that he can just say, oh, that's fake news, or I won, even though the votes say he didn't. I think it's really important that people make their voices heard, so that he can't say the election was stolen, because the people are the ones speaking.
Definitely. And so, again, you got the film crew out here. How can people be engaged with you and follow you on this journey as you're documenting this history?
So I just encourage people to, keep themselves informed. Make sure you're listening to reputable sources, people who know what they're talking about. Make sure if somebody says something, double check. Look into it yourself. We ourselves, we like talking to people from all backgrounds and getting the full picture. Not like trying to still get a stance one way or the other or anything. We really want to know what everyone is thinking. Our crew was actually up at the Trump rally yesterday, and it's really fascinating to hear them all explain why they believe in Trump and what motivates them to come to these rallies, and I think that
sometimes that happens. It's live on the internet, so you never know. But the last question I want to ask you is, as a young person, what does this election really mean? Because we saw the engagement in the streets, we see the engagement now politically. What does it mean for the next generation? Because you guys are kind of inheriting all of this. What does it mean to see you guys so engaged?
I think that the young people, we are the future. That is for sure. That we are the ones stepping up to our position of power. I'm a millennial myself, and I think that for me, what made a difference in this election was seeing Kamala on the ticket. Nothing against Biden or Trump, but I was so happy to see that there's somebody who I believe can connect with the younger generation and really knows where we want things to go. I think that there's a great momentum in the younger generation. I see a lot of political activism, which I think is great. I myself was out in the streets back in June, and I really, really felt all of the energy and all the just the excitement that everyone had about this could be a time of change. And this election, we see how momentous it is and how many people came out to vote. I think it's a really, really important time in our nation's history.
Well, we really appreciate the work you're doing, and thank you for allowing us to talk with you about this election. You have a great one.
Thank you.
So again,
Stacey's across the street.
We're going to y'all stay live. We're going to go over. We're going to take the camera over, and we're going to have a conversation with Stacey Abrams. One of the main reasons why this energy on the ground is happening in Georgia, and I think it's phenomenally important to hear it from her. Why it's important. So let's go.
In politics, you're never done. We definitely are not done in Georgia.
It's a struggle.
This pandemic is a struggle.
I'm not sure that I know any hairdressers who haven't lost a huge portion of their income.
It's just like a bad story. I don't know how much longer we could do it.
Boy, it's so good to see people. People who are not aware, I need them to wake up. Biden is the president-elect, but there is the Senate. And without
some help.
So it's not really sustainable at all.
With the right leadership, America can be put first again.
Senators Perdue and Loeffler just don't get it. They don't understand the people who make Georgia work.
I believe that Ossoff and Warnock, they'll act in regards to what the people want.
Pandemic relief, expansions of health care and Medicare.
This is one of those races that you should be excited about. This is an opportunity for us to put people first over profits.
We may not be John Lewis, but we can be committed to the vote for which he fought for. Get out and vote.
The people need to vote.
Show up.
I think we're going to win this election.
But it's going to depend on how many people vote.
Please vote.
Vote early if you could, but vote. Do not miss this opportunity.
Can you imagine if we woke up and we as a people have our voices heard?
This is our moment in history.
You've seen what hate is capable of. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. There are no bigger symbols of that hate in our country than Confederate monuments, built to celebrate treason against the United States in the name of slavery, built by organizations with clear ties to the KKK, built not on the heels of the Civil War, but primarily during Jim Crow to intimidate black people. Built and maintained with $40 million of your taxpayer money in the last 10 years alone. Built to cement hate. That's why we built Invisible Hate, a tool that gives every American the power to eliminate the 1,800 symbols of white supremacy that still stand. With a simple click, you can learn about them, denounce them, and lobby representatives to put an end to them for good. You've seen what hate is capable of. Now it's time to see what truth can do. Tear down hate at invisiblehate.org.
My vote is my voice. My voice speaks my choice. Every day, week, month, or year, one thing is clear. My vote is my voice. I said my vote is my voice. My voice speaks my choice. Every day, week, month, or
What's going on, y'all? It's Attorney Gerald Griggs with the Atlanta NAACP. We are here in Southwest Atlanta at a polling precinct, and we're hopeful to get a conversation with the leader, Stacey Abrams, who is actually going to go greet voters here in Southwest Atlanta. The reason why this is important is because this is a momentous election that is important. Okay, that is important for Georgia politics, and so it's drastically important that we get a conversation with the voters, get a conversation with one of the women that is so pivotal in voter mobilization and voter empowerment here in the state of Georgia. And why it's so important is because Leader Abrams with other groups has been pivotal in getting the vote out. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get a conversation with Leader. She did say that she was going to go and greet some voters and probably do an interview. Well, maybe we could take the camera over there and get that interview there.
Stacey!
Hello. How are you? Yes, I can hear you. Absolutely. Happy to. Yes, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. I am. Thank you. Okay. So I have to stand right here. Okay. How's the race going?
Yeah, this is David. I hear you. Here we go. Stand by. Here we go.
Well, we went into this election with a pretty strong, healthy margin, but steady turnout across the state has signaled that people are interested. We haven't seen the deluge, but it's just now we're just into the rush hour time when we have more voters who are going to be coming to vote after work. So what's happening, but we do see a very steady flow of voters on both sides of the aisle, which I think means it's going to be a tight race. Challenges where voters were told that they'd already voted because of absentee ballots. Luckily, we've been very diligent about ensuring that people know their rights. They've been calling into the hotlines, getting information. We've let folks know that if they go to the wrong precinct because of the nature of the race, they should ask for a provisional ballot. And so a lot of it is, we think people understand the importance of the race, but they also understand they've got support to make certain their votes count. And Fair Fight has been working very closely with a number of organizations across the state to ensure that every voter understands their power. I do. I think we continue to make progress. Now, let's be clear. We have not fully eliminated voter suppression in Georgia or across the country, but we have made dramatic strides from even June and certainly from 2018. The fact that absentee ballots can be cured, the fact that people know that they have the right to provisional ballots, but they're not getting them as a perfunctory exchange when there's a challenge. The fact that voters have a belief that they have the right to be heard across the state, especially in our smaller enclaves outside of Metro Atlanta. All of these are really good signals, but we have more work to do, and especially paying attention to the chatter coming from the Republicans of their intent to start to restrict the rights of voters because they're concerned that so many people are engaged and so many people are turning out. And hopefully Democrats and Republicans can come together and say that voter access in Georgia is a good thing, that high turnout is a good thing, and we will not put new barriers in place or take away opportunities to hear from every single eligible citizen. Well, I think it's important to look state by state. And we know that for many Democrats and for many campaigns across the country, Democrats prioritize people's lives over politics, and they took very dramatic steps to curtail the likelihood of increasing the surge in COVID. This time, because we had good information and we knew what we could do, we saw many more boots on the ground. We saw incredible investment. Fair Fight was able to distribute more than $25 million to smaller organizations to help them with their work, and we've been doing this work. It's a multi-generational, multi-ethnic, multi-county effort where we are everywhere doing everything, and I think that's the signal we need to watch. In 2008, the high water mark for Senate runoffs were hit. That was 2.1 million voters. We passed that last week. We have had more than 3 million early votes already cast. We've already set records, and those records, I think, portend well for voters who want to see change and want to see Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock join the U.S. Senate. Woo!
You ready to talk about the governor's race?
I think it's a curiosity, but it's more of the same. We have a failed president who has flouted the law his entire tenure. It's not surprising to anyone that he would do so again. However, we caution everyone who decides that this makes Brad Raffensperger a hero that we need to remember this is the same man who inherited and dealt with and participated in voter suppression when he became the Secretary of State. He is defending the election he was responsible for. He is not defending the rights of voters, and I think it's very important that we not conflate the two. It is a good thing for all voters that we are protecting this election, but it is a dangerous thing for us to ignore the person who's doing it and to presume that he is on the side of voters because he is not. less concerned about the agenda and more concerned about the people. We live in a state that is a fourth the size of California, and yet we have 670,000 infections from COVID. We have more than 10,000 deaths, close to 11,000 who have died of this disease. We have 400,000 Georgians out of a job. We have 3.9 million Georgians who either lost their jobs or had their hours reduced. We have 161,000 facing evictions if we do not restore and renew the eviction protection that was embedded in the last COVID relief package. Rather than debating what it means for an agenda, we need to talk about what it means for Georgia, what it means for America. And as Vice President, soon to be President Biden said yesterday, he doesn't want anyone who's loyal to him. He wants people who are loyal to the citizens they serve and to the Constitution. Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff have demonstrated that they are committed to the people of Georgia. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler have done nothing but profit and evade answers. They've done nothing to support the people of Georgia. And so what it means is that we will find ourselves stymied and stuck, and unfortunately without relief if we do not get the support and the leadership that will come with Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff joining the U.S. Senate. Well, look, being a battleground means you have to fight for victory. Republicans for 20 years took for granted their successes. We made them fight in 2018, we made them fight in 2020, and we won the battle in 2020. We're going to win this battle in 2021, whether it's by winning these two elections or by forcing Republicans to take seriously the needs of Democrats, the needs of independents, the needs of the people. We are going to be able to compel Republicans to actually have to talk about the issues and debate the issues as opposed to having a fait accompli for their ideas. That's what being a battleground means, and Georgia is firmly entrenched as a battleground state. We're going to move towards a permanent Democratic majority, but we've got a ways to go, but I'm incredibly proud of how far we've come and what we've been able to accomplish. Thank you for having me.
Great job, leader.
You did that.
There you go.
The next governor of Georgia.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Stacey, will you say a few words to the NAACP?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Where are you guys?
Right here.
Right here.
Yeah, no, here we go.
Watch your stuff on that cord.
Thank you.
We good? Right here?
Yep, so
Real quick.
okay.
Hey, Leader Abrams, how you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
So we're here with the leader, Stacey Abrams, and I have a few questions.
I can't, I do two.
Two questions.
Yeah, I got
Okay. First question, what do you think about the energy on the ground here in Georgia?
We have seen extraordinary turnout, especially from people who were told that they were not important to the process. People who were left behind, who were disenfranchised and marginalized, they have shown up and they've shown out, and that is a testament to the hard work being done by groups like the NAACP and others across the state to engage voters.
And what is your expectation after this election that we can continue to keep these people engaged and get them back out for subsequent elections?
Well, we know that in 2018, when we faced voter suppression, instead of sitting down and whining about it, we got to work. We built an infrastructure that we've sustained, and that infrastructure is now a permanent part of how elections happen in Georgia. But we've got to remember that between elections, we've got the responsibility to hold people accountable, to hold the leaders we've elected accountable, regardless of party. They work for the people, and we've got to make them do their jobs. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your work. And so you heard it there from Leader Stacey Abrams, the expectation moving forward in partnership with groups like, of course, the Atlanta NAACP and the NAACP National. I want to be able to talk to President Rose and get his opinion on what we can do to continue to move this coalition forward.
So what we got to understand is we cannot rest. We cannot look back and feel like we've accomplished what we need to accomplish. We have work to do. We have built an infrastructure, as Leader Abrams said. We had a network across this state among all of the constituent groups within the black community. We got to stay engaged, continue to lock arms together, continue to press forward, continue to know that our vote is our voice and our vote counts.
And the same question I asked Leader Abrams, how do we sustain and keep this pressure going? I know you had a 19-county plan, but how do we continue to broaden that and include more counties and continually push the African-American vote in Georgia?
Well, actually, it has already been broad. When people saw the success that we had, they asked to join in. We will continue to bring them in. We turn nobody down. You want to get a part of this coalition? Let's go to work. That's all we ask. How do you work? How can we help you build the infrastructure of your own in your community that coalesce with the rest of the state so we can make it better for all people of color in this state? It is high time to stop what we're doing. The status quo of white supremacy of the past cannot be sustained in the future.
And so it's important that we continue to motivate, to mobilize, and to strategize, but ultimately to put people in place that listen, and then we voice our vote. We make sure we speak truth to power. So we have been at our 7th voter precinct. We got to hear from Stacey Abrams. We got to hear from President Rose. And now we're going to continue to make sure we secure the vote. I'm Attorney Gerald Griggs with the Atlanta NAACP. Voice your vote.
In politics, you're never done. We definitely are not done in Georgia.
It's a struggle. This pandemic is a struggle.
I'm not sure that I know any hairdressers who haven't lost a huge portion of their income.
It's just like a bad story. I don't know how much longer we could do it.
Boy, it's so good to see people. People who are not aware, I need them to wake up. Biden is the president-elect, but there is the Senate. And without the Senate, we cannot make progress.
I came south to play basketball. And my first year, I went to jail in Nashville sitting at the counters. That was 1960. In 2020, it's the same kind of effort.
On election day, I was just so hopeful. The sea of red all over the Southeast, and Georgia was blue.
But it will mean nothing unless on January the 5th, people get out and vote.
We have to keep pushing harder than we did for November 3rd.
The Senate is now holding up legislation that could benefit people across America.
Everybody was living paycheck to paycheck before, and it's worse now.
I'm going to be in a position to have to sell my house to be able to afford medical insurance.
There's a lot of people that are going to be in need after this very tough year.
No one comes in, no one calls. I mean, sure hope we can get some help.
So it's not really sustainable at all.
With the right leadership, America can be put first again.
Senators Perdue and Loeffler just don't get it. They don't understand the people who make Georgia work.
I believe that Ossoff and Warnock, they'll act in regards to what the people want.
Pandemic relief, expansions of health care and Medicare.
This is one of those races that you should be excited about. This is an opportunity for us to put people first over profits.
We may not be John Lewis, but we can be committed to the vote for which he fought for. Get out and vote.
The people need to vote.
Show up.
I think we're going to win this election.
But it's going to depend on how many people vote.
Please vote.
Vote early if you could, but vote. Do not miss this opportunity.
Can you imagine if we woke up and we as a people have our voices heard?
This is our moment in history.